If you're working as a health, fitness, or wellness professional and you're seeing clients that are dealing with sleep apnea, it can be a tricky issue because there's more than one underlying cause for sleep apnea. But in this video, we're going to tell you about an underlying cause that hardly anybody knows about, yet we see it as the underlying cause for sleep apnea in like 30 to 40% of the cases that we see. You don't want to miss this.
TC Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor or licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
The underlying causes for sleep apnea that we hear about the most are, maybe somebody has a flap that's not flapping correctly, or maybe someone has excess weight and that excess girth is restricting the air to flow through the pathway correctly, or we hear about nutrient deficiencies that are causing problems for the signaling of the autonomic nervous system, taking care of our breathing for us, or we hear about the connection between cardiovascular disease or high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes with sleep apnea, and all of these are valid, but in this video we want to talk about an underlying cause that has more to do with your client's blood chemistry, and more specifically their blood pH. So here's how it works. The blood is a compensatory fluid, and what that means is that the body will take steps to keep that blood chemistry in line. That chemistry is very important to the body, and the body will beg, borrow, and steal from other systems just to keep that blood chemistry in line. And that's why a person can go to the doctor and, hey, I feel really lousy, and they get their blood work back, and the doctor's like, oh, way to go. Your blood work is perfect. Everything's in line. You're a champion. And the guy's like, well, I have gills. I don't think I should have gills. Why do I feel so lousy? And what's going on is the body is borrowing, and stealing from other systems, which can create symptoms and problems, and yet those problems won't show up in the blood work for a long time. So one of those issues is the blood pH. The body has a very narrow blood pH that it has to stay within, or we just kind of die. And since the body doesn't want that to happen, it will take steps to keep that blood in the right pH range. So the reason this can be a problem for sleep apnea is when that blood leans too far on the alkaline side, what's called the Bohr effect kicks in. And we all learned about the Bohr effect in the 8th grade, and then we just kind of never talked about it again. But what the Bohr effect says is when the blood leans too far on the alkaline side, oxygen can't get down to the tissues where it needs to be so that the body can function the way that it wants to function. That oxygen can get trapped in the bloodstream when it's leaning too alkaline. So a doctor can put a pulse oximeter on your client's finger and be like, oh man, your oxygen is great, way to go, everything is going well. But the problem is that oxygen can't get down to the tissues where it needs to function correctly. So to correct this problem, the body can slow the rate at which we breathe. And it does this in an effort to hold on to more CO2. CO2 is what we exhale, and CO2 is acidic. So when the body can hold on to more CO2, it can help acidify that bloodstream, balance it out, and allow oxygen to get down to the tissues where it needs so the body can operate the way that it wants to operate. This is a very big deal. So when the blood is leaning too far on the alkaline side, the body will just slow the rate at which we breathe, hold on to more CO2. Shut up, phone, I'm talking to people. So the body is using this to correct a problem. It's slowing the rate at which we breathe, it holds on to more CO2, it acidifies the blood, and that helps oxygen get down to where it needs to be. But with sleep apnea, it can slow that breath rate so much so that the person will basically stop breathing momentarily. Maybe enough to wake them up, or maybe enough to keep them from getting into a deep state of sleep. But when we see people with a really low breath rate, like we see them like around 6 or 7, which is way lower than you want to be. A person should be breathing, between 14 and 19 breaths per minute, and that's a pretty good indication of a balanced bloodstream. So we see people around 6 or 7, and if it's that low and it appears that the blood is leaning that alkaline, when you take steps to correct that, we also see them improve these sleep apnea symptoms. So to see if this is an issue for your clients, you can just run a really simple test on them. You can just check the rate at which they breathe for a minute. So I like to tell people, hey, I want to do a pulse test. Just close your eyes and just relax and try to breathe normal. I want to check your pulse. And I'll just check a timer and I'll set it for a minute, and then I'll put my finger on their wrist like I'm checking their pulse, and just go ahead and lie to them. You're not stealing their 401k. You're just trying to help them figure out their body chemistry. If you tell them you want to check their breath rate, it can affect the rate at which they're breathing. Like, oh, am I breathing fast? Should I slow down? Or, it can just kind of freak them out a little bit. So I like to tell people I'm checking their pulse, and then I count the number of inhales for a minute. Don't count inhale as 1 and exhale as 2. You just want to count the inhale so you can watch how many times their stomach rises and count that in a minute. So if that's less than 12, that's a really strong indication that their blood may be leaning too far on this alkaline side, and this could be a contributing factor for their sleep apnea. If their rate is 15 or higher, then it's probably some other underlying cause that's creating their sleep apnea issues. And you can even have them run this test at home on their own. Just tell them how to do it, tell them what they're trying to look at. It's a little bit harder to check it on yourself because, again, you can affect your breathing, but people can still do it. So if you have a client across the country, you can help them monitor their breath rate and see if the steps that you're taking are helping improve that alkaline pH that's creating a low breath rate. So it's that simple. If you want to learn more about this, check out our video on understanding the truth about pH balance so you can see steps that you can take to help your clients improve an overly alkaline pH and help them improve that breath rate and possibly their sleep apnea as well. I can't wait to hear about your results.